So yeah. So let's just kick it off and
So what's gone up? Yeah.
um what's coming up for me at the moment is a few things. Like it's July and August now, so I'm looking to take some time off, and I'm a salesperson. I've got targets to hit, and I was wondering, like, did you have any advice around that? Like, that's one question I had, because in one sense, like I want to take time off because I know I need a break and I need to refresh, but like my monthly and quarterly targets don't stop, even if I'm taking a couple of weeks off. So I'm trying to kind of navigate that. And obviously, I've been in sales roles in the past, taking a couple of days off here and there, but I'm getting a sense that I need to take a longer break, which I think is very much well deserved. Um, but I'm just wondering what the best way to navigate that is. The other question I had for you was, like, being a salesperson in a company, and at the end of the quarter you're back to zero. Like, did you have any thoughts? I would love to hear some of your thoughts around that and how you kind of remotivate yourself. Usually what I find at the end of the quarter is I'm pretty spent and I need a couple of weeks to kind of get myself back into it. So they were a couple of questions I had, but then also that poem that I saw, what I thought would be a good thing to chat about as well.
Okay. Well, for the common theme of what you're talking about is burnt, burnt out,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and that's the challenge when you look at things in quarters, because everything's a deadline then. Whereas if you position it that you look at what I've done and what I do now is I know the target I want to be hitting, and I know what I have to do to be doing that. So how many calls do I have to make generally to continue to open up my funnel for leads? What time do I spend chasing leads that are qualified? What time do I spend nurturing clients who've already brought business to me? And I don't look at it in deadlines, because what I found, because I'm a salesperson like you are, you fall over the line and then you have to recover.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're not falling over the line, you don't have the same sense of having to recover. You still have to take your rest. You still have to mind yourself. But it's not about going 1000% to get over a line. So it's the classic of the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to go through each of the 26 miles to get to the end of the marathon.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see people like a quarter way through it running and laughing, you know? Whereas you'll see the hardened marathon runners will be, and they know exactly what pace per mile they should be going, and they know exactly where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't lose the run of themselves trying to keep up with you, who's like a loose foal running around the place full of the joys of life. Um, they're not trying to keep pace with someone who is paced for far quicker than them. And
Who's loose, Phil?
like a loose foal, like, the kind of the gangly horse, like running around kind of 3 miles into it,
Right.
and they take off, and you'd be kind of like, oh Jesus, got to keep up with this fella. but,
Right.
but that foal will stop for that foal will stop for a rest in after 10 miles.
Yeah.
And
And that's a big thing. Our CEO always says it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's so easy to hear and so easy to say, and we get lost in it. And like, I was talking to someone this afternoon, and they were challenged with getting business, and the difficulty now during COVID, and they were saying, one of the things that pulls them into the kind of shadow space is the thought that business isn't happening. And I said, so how have you been of service to your clients? And he said, well, it's interesting you say that. Now, he said, I phoned a few clients, at the start of this, and one guy who is generally particularly responsive didn't respond, and I sent him an email with an article, and I heard nothing, and he said, and it tapered off. So I said, well, here's an example of what I did. I started phoning my clients, but I started phoning people in their businesses to see how they were, rather than just phone their principal to see how they were getting on. It's just like phone people in their business. So now you're of service in the business and around the business, and that word starts to come through. You're aware of a couple of the groups that I'm involved in, things like Press Pause, where we bring people together. And I set up a CEO chat room just out of my clients and non-clients. So there was 8 CEOs, and out of that, 2 of the CEOs I haven't been doing business with, one has re-engaged with me, another has asked me to do business, and a third CEO has increased the business.
Wow.
But I didn't get on to do that to look for business.
Mm.
And he said, yeah, I hear what, and he said, I hear what you're saying. And he said, yeah, I should be doing that. And he said, you said that to me before. And he said, whilst I might not have the quality of CEOs, but he said, I've seen your people, so I should, yeah. But he still wasn't getting it. And the part he wasn't getting was, I didn't bring those people together to get business. I brought them together to be of service for them, to help each other, for them to learn from each other, for them to just have a safe space. And in that, I was positioned to do business. So that's an example of what I mean by not sprinting to get to a quarter, because a quarter wouldn't allow you to do that, because you'd be too busy trying to get business off one of them.
Yeah, trying to get to a quarter, you'd be chasing the tail, trying to focus on business, where you're playing the longer game, really.
A quarter still matter to me. Every day matters to me. Now, the difference, Brian, I would say to anyone in sales, and this is whether you're for an employer or you own your business, do you know what you have to earn every day to meet your target? And that seems like the simplest of questions. But I speak to business owners and they don't know what they've got to do today monetarily. And it's so phenomenally easy when you start to boil it down. Because then, once you know that, you then work back from that. How many clients would I need with the average that they averagely spend to get me to that? And then you break it down from that to say, and what do I have to do to get one of those clients? How many calls do I have to make, or how many people do I have to see, or how many meetings do I have to have? And it becomes really easy. It's simple, not easy. Because once you know that, and once you know what it is you've got to do every day, well, then the question every day, and the question I ask myself every day for the last 30 years in business, what did I do today to grow my business?
I like that. I'm just taking down some of these notes here because I like that.
And it's really simple. What did I do today to grow my business?
Because sometimes people could get caught up in servicing all their existing clients, or get caught up in some task. Whereas when you're asking that question, you're bringing everything back to what's the end goal for the business.
And when you say people get lost in servicing their existing clients, they don't. They get lost in being busy.
Right.
They're not even servicing their existing clients. They're just lost and busy.
Yeah.
If they were actually servicing their existing clients, they'd know what they're doing to help their client to make more money for their client and themselves.
Yeah.
Like this is stuff, Brian, like now that you asked me the question, it brings me back like 100 years. Like 8 out of 10 of your customers don't know what you do.
What do you mean by that?
So I bought the platform for your brain. I didn't realize that you could actually do this for me. I didn't realize you offered this service as well.
Mm.
Never thought of you as this.
That's gas. You say that. We had a customer that has been with us for 3 or 4 years, and they just upgraded to our most premium offering, and I was involved in the process. And the first call they had with their new Thinkific point of contact, they were on the call, and he just goes, "Oh yeah, like, and you've still got Thinkific in your URL. You can take that off." And for 4 years, they had been successful client with us, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this is a 101 thing that I think everybody should know. So that, I think that was a good example of how we talk about these guys all the time to our other customers, and they didn't even know how to do one of our most simple things.
Really simple. And that's where, if you're really paying attention to your client, you'll see how you can make money for them and through them.
Yeah. I mean, that's a
Simple.
big thing that I focus on in my sales process is, where do you, like, what impact are you looking for this project to make on your organization, and what are your success metrics? So ideally what I want to get to as a salesperson is, what type of revenue do you want this to generate? Or how much money do you want this to save you? Or how much time do you want this to save you? And what will that equate to in money wise? Because then I know, well, I know where they want to get to. And then I know it does two things. It helps us then see what their North Star is so we can help them get there. But the second thing it does is it helps us then justify our cost, because, well, our cost is helping them get to their goal. So it's more of an investment than a cost.
Yeah. It's like Anthony Robbins says, the quality of your life will be in direct proportion to the quality of the questions you ask.
Hmm.
So if you bring it to sales, what are you asking? Do you actually know? So a lot of the clients themselves don't know where they're attempting to get to or what they really want. And it's a good question, or a good prober will open them up and help them discover answers for themselves. And that's then where you come in with your offering. So, and look, it's a process you keep learning till the day you die, I think. That's
Yeah.
why sales is the best profession on the planet. It is, like, it's because you're satisfying someone's need no matter what it is you're selling. If you have a product you believe in, product being a service or the offering you have,
Yeah.
and you believe in it, and it's bringing value to your clients, and you're providing a solution to them, no better feeling than when what you have fits for them and you see them succeeding and you get rewarded.
Well, that was the thing with this customer that upgraded. I mean, they were kind of fighting us on it, like, why do we really need to upgrade? Why do we need to upgrade? Then their first call with their customer success manager, instant value,
Yeah.
because now they can it's branded to them. They don't have to have Thinkific on their site. They don't have to have our branding. I mean, that was so satisfying because they've paid us more money. They're getting instant value. This is just scratching the surface of the increased value we're getting. And I get paid out for it as well. So it's just like a win-win-win. And this is where the opposite of what Donald Trump talks about, the way I like to look at sales, instead of strong arming every deal, is, well, how can I make this as beneficial for everybody involved in the process? And that's what I love to do is, well, like, let's make this beneficial for all of us. But that's where it becomes hard, because you really then have to sell something you believe in, because if you have any doubt in your own mind, that'll come across to the customer.
Absolutely. But that's the joy then of being involved in something that you believe in.
Yeah.
So that's the real buzz. So we're back to the start, the very first question. What do you do to get over the burnout at quarter? Stop aiming for quarters.
Yeah, but okay, but I have a VP of sales, and
Get your target every day.
Right.
Do 10% more of your target every day. You don't have to worry about a quarter. But
Yeah.
that's the output part. It's always about the input, Brian.
Right.
So it because you're in sales. when you're waiting for that big deal and you don't have a whole lot else on, and everything's hinging on that big deal, the need and the neediness and the frustration that goes with the energy of needing to get that. And 99 times out of 100, there's a good chance you push that deal away.
Yeah.
Have 3, 4, 5 of those clients on the go.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're not needy, and because you're servicing, and because you're looking after them, and because you don't have to get it, that's when they start to fall.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a sales director who wants his quarter. Of course he does. Like, what if you're ahead of your quarter all the time?
Mm-hmm.
And what if you have enough in your pipeline that's all the time feeding through?
Mm-hmm.
So like, why do you have to look at the bottom line and say, who they landed in this quarter? It should be immaterial to you when they land, what side of the quarter they land on.
Yeah.
Because you have so much on the go
Mm.
that they all come through anyway.
Mm.
And that's not being willy-nilly. It's like, I have them lined up. I have them lined up. I know that if I'm to do my quarter target easily, I need 15 lined up.
Mm-hmm.
So I've lined 20 up. And I have a methodology of working where I'm back to the client, where I'm bringing the client along, where I have them on a journey. And I'm working my process, and I'm working my generator, I'm working my pipeline all the way through. And I have my process that keeps coming around. It isn't hit and miss. And I'm not worried whether they land this side of the 30th or the next side. And that's even better, because then when I'm dealing with people, they know they're not being pressurized.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing of the beauty of our sales team culture that we've kind of instilled is, one question we ask is, well, when would you like to release your first online course? So what we work towards the client's timeline. When would you like to reach your first online course? Right. August 1st, right? Well, we recommend that you get into the platform a month before and do a beta launch 2 weeks before that. So if you want to launch on August 1st, well, we'll reverse engineer that and say, well, the contract process usually takes a week or two. So I recommend by the end of June, you should be pretty close to a decision.
And you see, that's fantastic. The question was, how do I avoid burnout at the end of the quarter?
Yeah.
And it's really simple. Have enough of those on the go.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you build it up and build it up. Whereas what most people do from a sales point of view is they work on what's in front of them.
Mm.
And then they dry it, and it's back to digging the well again.
Mm.
Because you'd find the professionals have simple systems in place that keep bringing up the prospect list. So whether it's birthday cards, whether it's, I go back to 5 clients every month.
Mm.
Why? Because I've worked out really simply that by going back to 5 clients every month, when the pipeline comes through, there's 2 of those clients on a monthly basis rolling through to give me extra revenue.
Mm.
I know I have to make 50 calls to new clients.
And I've seen this when I started my first sales job working in insurance. There was guys that had been there for 30 years that were sitting back on their chairs in every meeting because they had figured out their system. They didn't want to go into sales leadership. They just were successful salespeople. They knew they could make their X number of euro a year, and they had their system in place. And you could tell it had become easy for them because they knew what they had to do every day, every month, every quarter to just keep ticking along.
And it all depends on where you want to be then in terms of what that ticking along is.
Yeah. And different people will have different goals on that. Some people will be VP of sales. Some people are happy being a salesperson for the rest of their career. The big challenge I find personally is I'm always looking to the next thing, the next challenge. I find myself sometimes, it's almost not bored of like, okay, I get this. Now what else can I learn? What else can I? And I sometimes find that that's great. And it's probably one of my biggest strengths because I'm always looking to learn new things. But it's also can be one of my biggest weaknesses because I haven't really stuck at anything for, let's say, 5 years or 10 years, the same thing, just being consistently good at it because I want to go on to the next thing.
Yeah, depends on how you tell that story.
Yeah.
So, you know, I see you cracking it. I see you learning from it. I see you learning through it, and it's a cycle. So, so now at the moment, you found something you believe in
Yeah.
that you can genuinely sell, that you can genuinely learn about something you'll do in the future through selling.
Yeah.
That sets you up for the future. So that allows you have a longer time span on it.
Mm.
But I suppose what I would say to you is really simply look at, really understand the process of what it takes to do what you're doing.
Mm.
So you've played sport, and you'll see people who make it very hard, and you'll see people who make it easier.
Mm.
And generally, the people who make it very hard are the ones, how do I say this, are the ones who'll slacken and then have to pick up the pace to catch up,
Mm-hmm.
to stay up. Whereas you see when people get to the top of their game in any sport, in any walk of life, what you'll find is that they've got to a place where they know what they've got to do to keep the momentum. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's about tipping the wheel. So we use an analogy like turning the nut on a bike. You could put a spanner on the nut of a bike and it's immovable. It's like changing the spare tire on a car, and you just can't open the nut. And you're standing on the spanner, and you get it, you stand, and it's not moving. Like I've stood on a spanner on a car and
Mm-hmm.
it hasn't moved. And then the tiniest move, now it's open.
Mm-hmm.
And then you control it with your finger. But it could take your full body weight to move it.
Mm-hmm.
And once it moves, and it's the same in anything in sales we're talking about. It's like, it's getting that process that says how many calls do I need to be making? How many clients do I need to be talking to? What is it I need to be showing them? What are the type of clients? And so, and I'm rambling around some of this, but it's like, you're now getting to a stage where you know the type of clients that you're dealing with, the language of spend.
Mm-hmm.
So if I come to you and I tell you I'm a certain type of client, okay, you're going to be in a bracket of.
Yeah.
If I come to you and I say I'm a client and I'm a size of, you can straight away start to picture, you can start to put me into brackets.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got to look and see, where do I spend all of my time? So there are going to be one-man shows who are going to turn into the Googles, but they're going to be 1 in a million. But there are hundreds and thousands of medium sizes that have gone through the startup, have survived, have thrived, and are capable of spending an amount of money. Am I making sense?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the other questions you had was, how do you have more hours in the day? And it's 80-20. 20% of what you're going to do is going to give you 80% of your return, always.
Yeah, well, this is the big question, because I was on a bike ride with a friend yesterday, and he started his own business in the last year. And basically what he does is he builds Excel for clients, very complex Excel for big businesses. And he finds himself working until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning because he's got so many clients to service. And he's finding it a challenge to balance that with his life. And that's what I thought would be a good question to ask you, because it's the same with me, like I have my work, and then I'm doing I have a few little projects on the side. And I think that's a good start of an answer, is the 80-20 rule. That's kind of what I was saying to him on the bike. Maybe it's about saying no to some of the smaller deals and focusing on the bigger ones. Maybe I'd love to hear a bit more about what you say.
And it's that simple.
Hmm.
But you see, what is so simple is not always so easy.
Hmm.
And why it's not so easy is because in this case, there could be the fear of letting something go.
Hmm.
So I'm afraid to let the $100 goal, because it might turn into 1,000, or I have what I didn't even understand was a scarcity mentality.
Mm.
So everything that comes my way, I say yes to, for fear of nothing coming my way. And then so many people I have witnessed, I have done it, take on too much and give a poor service,
Yeah.
versus picking the clients who you believe have potential, who believe in you, who you give a good service to, who you give more than a good service to.
Yeah.
And you build on that. And it's not too dissimilar from what I was saying to you earlier. This can sound like theory, but when I was saying to you earlier, why would you be looking at the end of a quarter if you have enough going on in your pipeline?
Yeah.
It's having the courage to create that in the first place. So you might have to sacrifice a quarter or two.
This is great. This is,
to
yeah.
actually get the momentum going.
And I think this is really getting to the nub of it here, is sometimes to change to that longer term view, you might have to sacrifice some short term wins because you're changing your whole system to be more sustainable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's only true if you're actually working at it. That's not true if you're stopping to decide,
Yes.
which is what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're actually working it, and it's like a golfer changing their swing, it's like someone coming in and telling a cyclist lean a different way. It's someone coming in and showing a baker that you could add an ingredient. It's like, and it just wasn't. It's
There's
just
gonna
not
have to be
natural.
a few bad sourdoughs before
Yeah,
we
it's
make
like
the.
simple. Like Sally was making banana bread at home here, and like I had to eat the first two samples, and like it was awful. On her way to just being able to do it now with her eyes closed.
Yeah.
But nothing ever brilliant happens without putting yourself in there and going for it.
Mm.
And it's the same I have found in sales, is that people, like, I see people reaching target. I see people just about getting to target. I see people scrambling for quarters, for half years, for year ends, for month ends. And they never have the time to actually put in a proper system
Mm-hmm.
that allows them the freedom to pick and choose client,
Mm.
to challenge their goals in ways. So my guy today, is a beautiful guy, him, and it's just the mindset was saying, yeah, I thought I was offering service, but I wasn't, because the minute I was rejected by someone not taking my free service, like an article, and coming back to me, I left it.
Mm.
When if I'd taken a different approach and just brought him in to an environment where he experienced what I do and experienced others experiencing what I do, chances are things will come of it. But even if they don't,
But
I
I
know
think
I'm winning.
this then really comes back to the meaning of what you do and the purpose of what you do, because I think everything you said there is fine, but if you don't have the foundation of believing in what you're doing, or seeing the value in what you're doing, or having the passion in what you're doing. So for you as a coach, as a senior executive coach, you see the impact that you make on people's lives and people's businesses, right? And I, for me, selling an online course platform, I see how some of my customers have now gone on to transform their business, and their lives are easier and they're turning over more revenue. But you actually have to work at that. And I think people forget about this, that all those processes are in place. But I think the foundation is the why you're doing stuff.
Absolutely. However, if you took it a stage further,
Yeah.
if you want to get away from quarterly selling, so what do you now do with your successful clients together? And do you host anything that brings them together?
No.
So imagine if you had the Thinkific Success Forum,
Yeah.
where you bring 8 or 10 of your best clients together once a week for an hour just to be with each other, and you host it, and they just chat about their businesses
Mm.
and what they're doing and how they're doing it. And what you can do is help one cross-sell to the other ideas that they're using.
Brilliant. So yeah, we have that for our main customers. We have a Facebook course for like 30,000 course creators. Facebook group,
That's
like,
right. They're not
but
yours.
yeah, I know, but that's what I mean. We need to have something for our larger clients.
No. You need to have something. This is about you not having to scramble over the line at a quarter.
But the thing about it is once in my business, once in the business that I'm in, once someone becomes a customer, they get serviced by a different person, and then it's my opportunity to go find new business.
And can you not do new business with that existing customer?
Generally not. Like
Okay.
once they're on our highest tier, they're on our highest tier, you know.
Okay.
Well, I could ask for referrals of people.
No, but like that's just what I was going to say to you. So like here's where so I a simple example. I brought my CEOs together.
Mhm.
I didn't bring them together to see how I could upsell or cross sell to them.
Mhm.
But that's what's happening for me out of it. And I know it just enhances my reputation in the field
Yeah,
as someone who hangs out at that level.
it's like 1 + 1 = 3, kind of like by you being with the clients yourself, you're giving them some value. By bringing them together, they're getting not just value from you, but from your other clients.
And 1 + 1 = 5, not 3.
Yeah, because then you're also putting yourself in that bracket.
Absolutely. And again, you may say, you see, and isn't it interesting where you went with that, right? And this is why I'm saying to you, it's the expensive thinking on it. It's
Mhm.
like immediately I can't get anything out of that because, yeah,
Yeah,
well, you're right.
yeah. So take what you're saying and apply it to my situation and do it in some shape or form.
And you don't have to get something straight away.
Yeah.
You just want to create a CEO forum. You want to create an owner's forum
Mhm.
where you become the person of reference.
Yeah.
Where when you're talking to a potential new guy, new girl, new client, new company, you can say, maybe it might be a good idea to drop into this forum on Friday and just hang out with us.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
And they're the kind of things that start to build a pipeline in a way. That's just one simple example. Become the thought leader in your field
Mm-hmm.
versus the guy who brought me in the door and sold me and then moved on. Even if your business doesn't do that, you do that.
Yeah.
That's where you're different. You see, this again is where I have found the genius salespeople mark themselves out as being very different. Like everyone in the business only does this. Why? Because that's what you're paid to do.
Mm-hmm.
Why does this person do that? How does he have the time to do that? It's an amazing thing. But actually, it only takes 2 hours of Brian's time every week.
Mm-hmm.
And these people are out around the world advocating for him and bringing him referrals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Brian could then say to me at the end of year 3 that when I look back at my book of business, I average a referral a month from existing business.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason that's happening is because I have this network that's happening that feeds into itself, that feeds around itself. But that wouldn't happen in and of itself if I had just done a great job and passed them on to someone else.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely a big part of the question I'm asking is it's short-term thinking is what I'm in at the moment, is hit the quarter, hit the year, move on to the next. And I think thinking like this definitely expands that. And another benefit of thinking outside the quarter is you think bigger picture. If you have a tough month or two, you're like, well, I'm aiming for the year, or I'm here for the next 5 years. I remember Sally working with someone. She was like, well, I'm going to be in recruitment for 5 years. So my first year is about learning. And it meant that they, instead of what I sometimes do is, well, I want to be top every month. It's like, hold on a second. What's your, take the bigger picture view here. And we're coming up on time here. There was another thing that I want to discuss around the meaning side of things and purpose and that poem that I shared with you. So I thought it might be good to read that out and maybe just get your thoughts on it, and we could then dive deeper into it in the next week. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Whatever. That's Nick Askew.
Yes. Yeah. So he shared that poem. I actually don't know who it's by, but it was really timely for me. And I'll read it out and kind of explain why. So it's called The Whisper and the Echo. So it's, a man looked for meaning for his very place in life. He searched high and low. He'd often hear a whisper calling his name from the other side of what seemed like a door that remained hidden from his ability to see. Frustrated, he'd knock on everything that resembled a door, turning here and there, turning just about everywhere. Then one day, unannounced, it opened, and he realized that he'd been knocking from the inside, and that the whisper had been an echo, the echo of his own soul, reminding him that he was already home. And what came up for me when I read that poem was, sometimes I get frustrated with, I want to be doing something really meaningful. I want to be, impacting the world. There's so many great causes out there that I want to be part of. And for me, it was like, okay, you're a salesperson for a technology business. Where are you actually adding value now to people's lives? And double down on that, because you could spend your whole life looking for that meaningful job and the meaningful role in a meaningful industry. Whereas actually, if you focus on what you're doing, you could be making a huge impact on people's life that way.
And why would you even describe what you do as working for a technology company?
Well, it's a great question. And that's why I was saying earlier on in the call that it's very important to take time to remind yourself of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So seeing a successful customer, having a chat with them, what was their experience like? How did that make an impact on their life? Because they were earning more, are they sleeping better, or do they have more time? And I think
Absolutely. And that's so true. And it's almost like a couple of steps beyond.
yeah,
Go right back to the very start. You say you're a sales guy working in a technology company. That's shite, like.
yeah. And
No, I'm not, and I don't like, because I know you do far more than that. However, if that's the story you tell yourself,
mm,
and this is relevant for any of us in anything, it can only stay that ordinary. Now, think of Bob and Kim.
mhm,
You're not a technology guy. You're a transformer.
mhm,
You're opening gates. You're providing solutions. You're changing lives. So it's how you even put that as a story to begin with. So I learned this 30 years ago when I was hearing about the best sales guys in America selling cars and selling real estate. And that's not what they did.
mhm,
Like there's one guy, famous guy in America selling cars, and he'd send like, 500 birthday cards signed every year kind of thing.
mhm,
But I knew guys like that. I knew people who operated like that. And they didn't see themselves as car salespeople. They didn't see themselves as insurance salespeople. Like they were providers of solutions. They were genuinely partners with the people they were dealing with.
mhm,
And like the birthday card, like of course, 15 years later meant I was dealing with their brother, their daughter, their son, their wife, but the real reason I sent a birthday card the first time was because you're an amazing client and you helped me get my first $500
mhm,
bonus.
mhm.
And I genuinely meant it. And then I found I want to do that for everyone that makes me
Mm.
happy for selling them a car and doing it. But then, of course, I wasn't doing that. I was actually saving a marriage. I was actually helping a guy get from A to B, like there's all the stuff. So when you say you're a sales guy working in a technology company, what a short shrift. What a fucking bum steer for what you do.
Mm.
So that description deserves a quarter to quarter,
Mm.
because that's about as much as you'd have invested in the story.
Mm.
Whereas like you could actually you can be saving the world doing what you're doing.
Mm.
You could be helping people like me expand to the world.
Mm.
You're already doing it. Now there's a mission.
Mm.
And then you're looking for people that you want to do it with. And then it becomes, how many of them can I handle every month?
Mm.
And how many of them are my friends every year? And that's why you look at having your groups, because why I like being around these type of people, and we've grown up together, as in they've grown their business and I've benefited, but like the buzz I get from seeing them, and look, and there's his son Johnny has joined the business, and look, they see that business there, they had 2 people in it when they went on the platform. Now they've 2,200 people, and your man is a gazillionaire and he's after saving half the lives in Africa. And it's like, I'm a part of that.
So it's important, the stories that we tell ourselves about what we do. And I think that will
Yeah,
then seep through into every action we take. And I think that's a good thing to think about. I definitely need to go away and just sharpen that up for myself, just to remind myself when I wake up in the morning what I'm actually doing, not
exactly.
some unjustified kind of half
Listen for the
explanation.
echo.
Mm,
Listen for the echo.
I like it. Well, I gotta hop on to my next meeting. So that was brilliant. And I've a couple of notes there that I'll put in the description of the video. But great to chat to you.
Great chat to you.
Bye for more.